We went to Rapallo, right? Rapallo was where we played Romania in the penalty shootout. And remember Rapallo, that's where Scotland was.
The game's in Genoa.
The game's in Genoa.
But you were saying based out there.
Based out in Rapallo. And we replaced Scotland in the same hotel. Now, we were down in a shit hotel down in down in Sicily. Oh, my God. And this was 5-star, and we came up here, and but we replaced, and you remember Mo, and I don't know who else got into a wee bit of trouble. Were you in the squad that day?
No, probably not.
1990.
1990.
That's a very good question. Why were you not in the squad?
Who was the manager?
It was Andy.
Andy Roxburgh. That'd be the answer.
But anyway, and remember, they went downtown and they got into a wee bit of trouble. They were in the bar.
Yes.
We went in and replaced Scotland. Now we're in the quarterfinal. Scotland's home. Big Roy and Paul, they've all gone home. So we're replacing them in Rapallo in the same hotel. And Jack says, right, go down to town and have a couple, and we'll get working tomorrow. So we go down to town where Mo and them got into trouble, and we're having a few pints, and all the media's in with us. And that was a difference. That was a difference.
Behaving yourselves.
We were having this crack and stories and all that, but we were relaxed. And that's how Jack dealt with us, you know. But he was wonderful. I had them over here at my testimony. You've heard this story about the test. I took them over and I was asking all the players about what would you like? It wasn't about Chris and all that. And they were, we just get this nice. Jack, I said, what would you like? He said, give me a box of scotch. So I had a box of scotch. But at that time, Macca, it was the CD player was just out.
Yes.
Oh, this is a new phenomenon of CD players. And they get a portable CD player. Wow, that was brilliant. So I got the portable. I managed to get them, and I put everybody's name on the CD player, right? So we went back to the Albion Hotel after the game, and obviously the speeches. And so it came to the time of giving out the gifts, and I says, okay, Jack, bring the team up. I've got a gift for you. And he walked up right away. Loved gifts. He loved gifts, Jack. And he's for free, he loved it. And he walked up, and the players then started to come. But he walked up first, and I had the CD player at the top of the box with this. And I said to him, here you are, Jack. And he went, he stopped about 2 yards away, and he says, what the fuck is that? And I says, it's your gift, Jack. What am I going to do with a toaster?
Brilliant.
A toaster.
Brilliant.
I said, it's not a toaster, it's a CD, it's a bloody toaster. So then he takes that. I had the box of scotch for him anyway. Then he goes back down and they're at the table, and the boys are saying to him, Jack, that cost you 15 quid for every CD. He says, who wants to buy it off me?
Brilliant.
You're going to tell the story about the Pope.
I'm going to say, you can make things happen.
No, but we had a wonderful time. So anyway, we go to play Italy after beating Romania in the penalty shootout. We go to Italy. We're way out in this hotel. But before we went to the tournament, the physio Mick Byrne, who was a big Catholic and big Fianna Fáil man and all that, and he's on, Jack, if we get to Rome, you'll take us to see the Pope. Oh, certainly I'll take us to see the Pope. Now, Jack thinking, we'll never get to the final. Never get to the final. But we get to the quarterfinals in Rome.
Right.
So as soon as we qualify, Mick's like, Jack, you promised. So anyway, they end up going and getting all the cardinals of Ireland and everybody that was working out in Rome. And we end up getting this personal invitation to go audience with the Pope. So we go there anyway with the Pope, and it's fantastic. And he's John Paul, and he's doing a speech and all that. And then we're brought up onto the stage. We're up beside him. So he comes to meet us and meets Jack and meets wee Charlie O'Leary, our wee kit man, and all the players around. Then he comes to me, and he puts his hand on my shoulder and he says, I was introduced to him as a goalkeeper. And he said, the portier. He says, I was the portier in Poland when I was young. And he said, well done, and so on, in a few words. And then the cameras all took the pictures of me, and we have it in the house. My mum had it over in the house and it was on RTE TV and so on. It was on the news that night, and it was all over the place.
Packing the Pope.
And this was like unbelievable. So anyway, we go to play Italy then in the quarterfinal in Rome, and remember the goal.
It was a rebound, wasn't it? You parried the shot.
The ball breaks at the edge of their box, and they do a counter attack. Donadoni picks up about 30, 40 yards, strides forward and hits this shot. Now, it was a brilliant shot.
It was a stinger.
It was an unbelievable shot.
Well just to keep it.
So I'm in line of the shot, and then I'm moving into the line of it, and I go this way here, and the ball moves back inside me. And the only thing, and I'm telling you now, this is the only thing I could do. Instead of popping it out there, I want to knock it in the way that I'm falling out into that area. But Scalacci who was hot at the time.
That's right,
Unbelievable. Just we lost Toto Scalacci there recently, actually, he did.
Yeah.
But he made a diagonal run across, and Paul McGrath had tracked him. And as I've taken the ball with me, I lose my balance out to the post. The ball drops to Scalacci, back of the net. First touch, good finish, but an easy finish.
Yeah. But
Beaten 1-0.
no disgrace.
No disgrace. But we beat, this is quarterfinals. So anyway, in the dressing room afterwards, and we're sitting around and this and that, and as you do, and we're out of the tournament, and I'm there with my strip on and talking, and we're all disappointed. And Jack's standing over at the dressing room or the shower room door talking to Andy Townsend, who was our captain.
Yeah.
And this is Andy's story.
Yeah.
And Jack's having a cigarette in the dressing room, which is brilliant. So I'll be back now fishing next week and all this, you know. So I eventually strip off and I go in for a shower and I have to go past it to him. And as I'm going past him, and he's out of the corner of his mind, he says, "The effing Pope would have saved that one."
Brilliant.
Destroyed me. Thanks, Jack.
Brilliant. Oh,
So that was it. But he was that was his way of just. But it was brilliant, you know. And we had a great homecoming then. You know, there was 500,000 people in Dublin for us coming home after that, because it had just captured the imagination of the whole country. What we did, we didn't win anything, but we got to a stage where the fans never thought we'd get there. It set the bar very high for the ones that come behind. We nearly did it again in actually under Mick when we went to Japan and Korea.
Yeah, well, that was In fact, I was hoping to talk about that. Yeah, we've got a bit of time. Why not? Because I mean that was. I forgot how well Ireland actually did in it. Yeah. So it was a penalty shootout against Spain.
And if they had won that game, we were true. We were true to the quarterfinals again.
And that's despite all the stuff that went on beforehand. And everyone knows the story about Roy Keane. Obviously, the Roy Keane McCarthy fallout was huge.
Yeah, well, I was a staff member, you know, and I was very supportive of Mick, and you have to be as a manager. And Roy, listen. It was a difficult time. I always felt, and you know, Roy will never probably say what was going on, but I always felt that there was something going on with Roy before that. He was on edge, and so on and so forth. You know, for him not to get to a World Cup for what a fantastic player he was unbelievable, you know, and that, you know, I could go into the detail of it a bit more, but I'm not going to really get there because at the end of the day, Roy is Roy, and I've got great. I got on great with Roy when he was young, and we used to wind him up about myself and Jerry Payton, and I have a decent relationship. I didn't like what happened. Absolutely, I totally supported Mick on it because Mick was the captain, and if you're a part of a team, you're part of a team. You can't be. And it's just a real pity that he didn't get the opportunity to go and light up the World Cup. Yes, you know, and maybe people say, "Well, if we had Roy, we'd won the World Cup." We wouldn't have won the World Cup, but we might have did a wee bit further. You don't know; it could have been a disaster. So you never know these things. And that the one thing I'll say is that I've got great admiration for Mick.
Yes.
And remember when they met afterwards? I think he was manager of Relives and one was manager of Sunderland. You know, the story there would be that Mick. Was phoned up Sunderland. I think Roy was at Sunderland, asked for a player. And who did he speak to? It was Roy. You know, this was because he said, that's who you speak to. If you're going to go after a player, them times you go and speak to the manager. And that's what happened. And that's why they had the handshake. So Roy instigated that at that time. So I have a lot of admiration for him to do that, because that was a tough time for those guys, I can tell you, in the limelight. And
He's almost kind of reinvented himself a wee bit, Roy Keane, now, as this kind of media personality.
I think he's one of the best. I think he's one of some of his remarks. That's his job.
But you see, but that's it.
That's his favourite one. It's what a great save. That's his job.
But it's so true.
But that's his job also to create that event. And he is. Listen, he is good at it.
It's so easy. It just comes out.
And that, but listen, management is not easy. No. I can tell you. You know, I was there as assistant manager with Tommy, and it's not easy. I got 3 or 4 games when Tommy was ill one time to manage, and I can tell you, when you're up in front of the players and you have to deal with them all, and they're all different characters, it is not easy. Roy had the opportunity, didn't quite work out as well as he probably would want to. Mick has done it well over the years. So yeah, and that's not easy.
As long as everybody's friends now, that's the most
You still
important thing.
speak to Mick?
Yeah.
I need to tell him I'm going to phone him.
Aye,
He's
well,
got to come on.
they're all good guys, and we all get on well together.
Brilliant.
Still.